You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Amy Lafitte
and Jennifer Loading.
And whether you are starting a business, starting a project, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. And I'm excited for Jennifer to introduce our fabulous guest that we have here today.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about this. And Jeff, where did we meet?
We met at a networking lunch
I know.
a month ago.
And who was the person that brought me there?
There would be a lady named Casey Hastings.
That's right.
She is the master networker for Dallas, right?
We love Casey. We love her.
We all love Casey.
Her show is actually, your show will be going out next week, but hers is actually going to be airing tomorrow. So this is going to be a great show to follow up with what we talked about with Casey. I'm super excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah.
She's awesome. So yes, I do want to introduce Jeff. Jeff Yates is a partner and consultant with iWorkZone Systems, the leader of intelligent talent analytics. Yates has been with iWorkZone for the past 5 years, where he works directly with clients big and small, addressing a wide variety of solutions related to hiring and retaining top talent. A serial entrepreneur since third grade. We talked about this.
Yeah,
remember we talked about it.
That's
Wow.
right.
His
That's
first
great.
job was selling mistletoe door to door. I love this.
That's so
right.
cute.
And he hasn't stopped since. I think that was our conversation. We talked
think we
about
talked about that at lunch
being
that day.
kids and
That's
like
right.
creating businesses, and you just kind of keep doing that, right? That's awesome.
It's a bad habit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some good in that. There's some
Sure.
cool things that come out of that. All right. Previous phases of his career have included 4 years as a professional golfer. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
15 years as a multi-unit franchisee with Subway. We talked about that.
Yep.
Cool.
And 9 years in senior housing development. Jeffy lives in Fairfield with his wife of, get this, 23 years.
Aw.
Yay. And her name is Kathy. And then they have 2 daughters named Madison and Maggie. How old
That's
are your
my
daughters,
crew.
by the way?
One's a junior at Lovejoy High School, and the other is a sophomore at the University of Arkansas.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know how my kids have gotten so old. Well, I haven't.
I say that all the time.
Right?
That's why I keep using collagen. I talk about this all the time. Like,
Exactly,
they're getting
right.
older, I'm getting younger. I just keep drinking collagen.
That's the key.
That's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's a good secret.
Fantastic.
Love
Thanks
it.
for having me. This
Yeah,
is
welcome
great.
to the show. We're super
Yeah.
excited to have you on here.
Absolutely. We want our listeners to kind of get to know you. So we always do these fun rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So are you a morning person or a night person?
I kind of go both ways. My favorite time of day is early morning. Always have been that way. But I'm also the last one to sleep at night.
That's because you're an entrepreneur.
Basically don't sleep a lot, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, can you get away with that? Doesn't
Yeah.
bother you too much?
5 to 6 hours about every night.
That's what
That's
I do.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
and if I sleep more than that, do you find this? Like, if I sleep a full 8 hours, I wake up groggy.
It's been so long, I don't really remember what
You don't
that felt
remember?
like.
Like, I feel like I have a hangover. Seriously. Like, I work off about 5 to 6 hours. So I
Yeah.
am the first one typically up, and I am typically, other than my son, he's kind of, I don't know. He's
Yeah,
like a vampire child.
It's
He
a
like goes
struggle.
all the time. But I will be a lot of times the last one to go to bed too,
Yeah.
because I'm working on things.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
I know. Well,
Entrepreneur.
those teenagers, they're always turn into wolves, at least for a while. So
He's up
gonna be a
early
night
too,
owl.
though. I can't figure
Yeah.
it out. He gets
Yeah.
up. Like, sometimes I
Oh.
don't even have to wake him up. He just gets up.
Oh, maybe he's like you, Jennifer.
Yeah, he's like, well, we did talk about him being an entrepreneur.
He
so
is.
maybe.
He's that boy.
There
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
Fantastic.
So awesome. So do you like cats or dogs, or what kind of
Absolutely a dog person.
dog
Yeah,
person?
yeah.
Do you
I won't
have
get
dogs?
into the whole cat side, but yeah, we're dog people all day long. Right now we have one. We lost one last summer.
I'm sorry.
But still have a little Yorkie that follows me everywhere I go.
It's
I have a
fun.
Yorkie too.
Yeah,
She's so
She's
cute.
the greatest. Yeah. So we're definitely dog people.
That's
Have you always
awesome.
had little dogs?
Cocker Spaniels, literally got my first one for my birthday in third grade.
Okay.
And until last summer when we lost ours, I had one continuously since I was
Aw.
8 years old, and I'm not 8 anymore.
Third grade was a big year for you. That's when
grade
you
was a
became
big
an
year, yeah.
entrepreneur
Yeah, it
and
was
you got a
really my-
Cocker
That
Spaniel.
was my coming out, right? Third grade was where
It's
it
a
all
big year.
began.
The dog did it. The
That's
dog.
right.
The dog.
Absolutely.
That's so funny. I
Absolutely.
love it. I love
That's
it.
awesome. And what's your favorite food?
Favorite food? Oh gosh. Pretty much anything fried, but like fried chicken, things like that. But I'm a sucker for steak. We love to cook out. We love steak. So
Yum.
if I had to pick a meal, it would be steak. I'm not a veggie guy at all. I'll eat salads all day long, but no.
Yeah.
Can you just eat like a steak?
Yes.
I did that the other
Yes, you
night. I
can.
just had steak
Yeah.
for dinner. That was it. Nothing else.
Yeah. If we grill
That's
out,
good.
there's always leftovers. Nobody in the house touches them. I'll eat it for lunch. Literally just right out the fridge.
That's
Let's
awesome.
eat
I'm hungry right now.
it. Let's get some steak.
I
Right?
want some steak. Let's go get steak after this. I'm
Sounds
hungry.
like a great idea. I love
Put
it.
some salt on it and we're good.
Here we go.
How do you like your steak?
Absolutely. Well done.
Oh, well done.
What?
Like, I'm a vampire. Like, I like my
Rare.
blue. Like,
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
good.
I remember eating in one of those fine dining establishments one time out in California, and I saw black and blue on the menu, and I thought, what in the world is that?
So you ordered it?
And it's no, absolutely not. I don't want it mooing at me on the way to the
You knew what it
fork, right?
was. That's what I'm saying.
It was
You
just
knew?
basically seared on both sides, and that's called cooked. And I'm out.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what they
out
do.
on that.
You know
Yeah.
what always cracks me up though when you go to the restaurant and they're like, "How do you want your steak?" And you're like, "Blue," and they're like, "You mean like that?" I'm like, "Yes, like vampire meat. That's what I want. I want you to bring me
Yeah.
vampire meat.
Yeah.
Like just flip it, throw it on the plate, bring
you
it
would
out."
get frustrated waiting on my steak to cook while yours was already
I'd
ready.
be like, "I'm done, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm done eating. We're finished."
They're
This
still
is awesome.
cooking mine.
This
Absolutely.
is so awesome.
I know. I love it. I guess we can share one, Jennifer.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
No
so,
doubt.
so tell our listeners like about you, like what makes you unique, like how you do what you do to help people.
Well, a lot of what I do is just tied back to the work that we do. We have a set of tools that are a part of our company. I became a part of this company about 5 years ago. It was really kind of by happenstance. I've been through some crazy stuff career-wise, and was reached out to and got to know these guys, and never really saw this coming when we started, but realized that we had a unique way to understand people. And I love people, always have. And so now doing what we do, we actually have a chance every day to just make a difference in people's lives. And so take the business side out of it. That's a pretty cool opportunity just to help people understand how God wired them, who they are at the core, not what they want the world to see, but who they truly are. And when they find that fulfillment, it's a lot of fun. So obviously we do it to make a living. We do it to help companies, and we do it to help people succeed. But that's honestly the core of what this is about. Every morning we wake up, we get to make a difference.
It's awesome.
It's really cool.
Well, and Casey was joking one day about how she's like, "This test is so good. Jeff can tell you what you had for breakfast."
I told her, I think we talked about this one day, but I said, I don't know if I can tell you what you had for breakfast, but I can tell you why you picked it. What the process
wanna
was,
know,
right?
Yeah, I want to know what you would think if I was eating bacon and eggs.
Yeah, well, I think that sounds good. I want some too.
I eat that pretty much
I like
every
bacon
morning.
and eggs. Yeah,
I
that's
eat
a
bacon
good
and
thing.
eggs, or I make cream cheese
Yeah.
pancakes. I'm like, why would I pick bacon? You know why I pick it? Because it's easy.
There you go.
Like I don't have
Yeah.
to think about that. You throw the bacon on, put an egg on. It's like I don't have to like make anything up. It's easy.
I like it. High protein. Good
Yes,
for you, and we get on
it's
with the day.
actually good it's high fat protein, like equal in the fat and the protein department. So if you're
Yeah.
doing low carb, like I'm doing, it's excellent.
So we
Yeah.
actually ate
Like,
breakfast
no
for dinner
carbs.
last night. So we're on
Good
that page.
stuff.
What'd you
Yeah.
have with it?
Yeah.
Bacon and eggs and.
We actually made bacon
talking
and
a
egg
lot of food.
sandwiches. I know. This is the Food Network, right?
It is. Apparently, we're all hungry here because we're talking lots of food.
It's hysterical.
So the neat thing about this test, I know one of the things that I asked you about this company, because this came up for me, we went over this whole thing, and he's good with this test is just incredible. And I think a lot of people need to do it. But one of the questions I asked him was, who's your clientele? Like, who are the people that
Yes.
you're working with? Is it that like your people that are coming and looking for jobs? So talk about this a little bit, because I think this is really neat. What makes this company unique and
Yeah.
how it helps these companies.
Yeah, so maybe put it in context a little bit. There's lots of assessment companies that are out there. I mean, Myers-Briggs is probably the grandfather of them all, been around for 100 years or however long. But, whether it's that or DISC or Predictive Index, Strengths Finders, Enneagram is the cool one now. My kids love to jab me
Yes.
about that all the time.
She talks about that one, yes.
They're all great. There's nothing bad about them at all. But they do have limitations in the sense that they just look at what we call your behavioral traits. And so behavior can be modified. It can be influenced. It can be changed. You coach people. You help them understand how to do things differently, create new boundaries, things like that. So while that's a great thing to understand, it doesn't necessarily predict success in a job. And yet that's how a lot of people look at candidates and say, yeah, you're going to be perfect. So the tool that we have, the Talent Selfie is the test itself, actually looks at that behavior, but then it dives deep into what we call your talent wiring. It's literally your DNA. God made you a certain way, didn't make a mistake, but he absolutely didn't create us to all do the same thing. And so when we begin to understand more about truly that wiring, the way we are, it helps us begin to understand why we like certain things and why we don't. And more importantly, in a team setting, why some people drive us nuts and why other people just draw to us and we love to hang out with them. But it's all based on that inner wiring. So when we deal with a company, big or small, we tend to say you have two kinds of employees that work for you. You have people that you love. If we could figure out this 3D printing and print out those people, that's what we want to do. They're awesome. And at the same time, you have a handful of people that every morning when they hit the door, you're just like, oh man, they're back.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with them? They're not bad people, right?
Yeah.
They just don't fit. And so what we do is we help those companies understand what it is about those people that they love, not just based on behavior, but truly, how are they wired in your culture, under your business, under your circumstances? And then let's go find more people like that. And that's what we do. So because of that, we can work with every size company, big and small. And that whole wiring really comes into play in smaller companies as much as big ones, because you have a small set of people and you put the wrong person in the middle of that team and you can really cause major disruption.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, and it's making me think while he's talking about this, because I just wrapped up reading Gretchen Rubin's Happiness Project. It took me forever. Have you read that book?
I have not.
So great.
It's a good book, but she's a storyteller. So she tells a lot of stories. And me being very like task oriented, I'm like, can you get to the point of the book? Like, what's the message we need to read here? Right. So I would read a little bit and have to shut it. But one of the things she says in there is that you can choose what you want to do, but you can't choose what you like to do.
That's exactly, I couldn't say it better.
When I read this and then I talked to you, I'm like, it just makes so much sense. Because if you think about it, like even when I was talking to Casey and she was saying she was in accounting, and I think I told you, ironically, I studied accounting in college too.
Right.
They're like, why would we pick accounting?
Like the girl that likes to talk.
Yeah, why would we pick accounting? Like, I'd be like, let's talk about numbers today. How are we going to spread those numbers out?
Well, when you think about it, why do we go get a job? There's all kinds of reasons, If your dad was an accountant, maybe then you think accounting's fun. My wife, for example, was a teacher early on, and she was very good at that. But really the reason she became a teacher is because that's what her older sisters did first. And so it's like, well, I'll just be a teacher. And so we're motivated by a lot of different things. I want to travel. I want to be outside all day. Whatever it is, we chase after a job and then we get it. And we're like, wow, is this it? I don't like this at all. I hate it. Or in your case, in Casey's case, you become an accountant and you can do it. We never say you can't do something, but the reality is you're miserable every day. You hate going to work and it's just a job. Yeah. And so when you can find things that align with that wiring, man, there's just freedom in it. Now it's still work, right? Some days we don't want to go. Some days we don't want to get out of bed. Right. But it's just more fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell people the story about the passive and the active when you were talking about the book on the bookshelf and the whole, the active people are like, just put the book on the shelf. And the passive people are like trying to figure out all the ways to get it over. And obviously I'm the active one. Put the book on the bookshelf. We're talking way too much about this right now.
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
Just get it done. So I tell my kids all the time when they're like trying. I got two of them that are like, thinking. They're like, I'm like, why are you spending so much time thinking about that? Just do it. Like we run circles already, Well, that test is awesome.
You mentioned your kids, but honestly, there's a lot of applications outside of work, with couples and married couples. Opposites truly attract. We see it all the time in the wiring of how people are put together. But, you understand that about your spouse even. It helps you understand a little bit differently why maybe you don't do things the way they want it done.
It would be good because then, you'll understand why you ask them to do something, they're thinking so long about it.
That's right.
And you're like, why are you thinking about that so hard? Like, I think I asked you 2 days ago. I could have had it done by now. Or called somebody. As our prior guest said, what was it? Leverage and delegate.
Delegation.
There you go.
I got a phone number. I can get this done.
Exactly.
Really quick.
Exactly.
Just give me the money and I'll go get it done.
Yeah, totally get it.
That's great.
Well, and with all the companies you're going into and talking to all these different people, like what percentage of people are in the wrong job, like for their wiring?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of folks that actually gravitate towards what they're good at doing. And especially in when you get into entry-level jobs, we work a lot with senior housing and food service and manufacturing and warehouse. I mean, all kinds of different companies. And you'll find it's one of my favorite parts when we go into a new company. Well, test everybody that works for them now. And then we have this chart. I'm sure Casey may have shown you guys your chart with the two of you. But
I had a comparison.
But it's really fun when you chart people that all do the same job because you'll see actually a trend. You'll see columns of color, which is good because we're looking for people that are wired similarly. And then you'll have a few outliers. And typically those are the ones that you either find out, man, they work twice as hard. They're burned out. They're ready to quit. They're working twice as hard as the guy next to them. And sometimes, our system allows you then find where they're a better fit and quickly let's put them over there, turn them into more functioning employees. So it certainly happens. Where it gets more interesting is as you get higher up, C-suite and management type positions, you tend to see a lot of culture clashes where based on leadership, they kind of want things a certain way.
Right.
And so you got to put the right people underneath that because, in a lot of cases, they're not going to be nurturing. They're not going to handle people that are what we call why people. They don't want you to sit around and question why. They just want you to go do it. And so sometimes, you can have really, really qualified people fail in a position, not because they weren't qualified, but because the culture just simply wasn't right.
No, that makes sense. Absolutely.
People don't like when I ask why.
But you can't help it. And you know what? I'd give you a fist bump if you weren't so far away. I don't think anybody
cares when you ask why.
No, not you, but well, a little bit. But mostly,
I don't care when you ask
mostly
why.
In corporate America, really. Like that, I think that's one of my biggest reasons, because they would throw out these things and I would be like, this doesn't even help. Like when I was in customer service at the bank, they would put out these things and I would be like, this doesn't even help the customer. And then I'm like, well, then why are we doing it? And of course, they don't give like a reason as to why they changed, like, corporate reasons for stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Goes back to as a kid, because I said so, right?
Well, yeah.
That doesn't work well in the corporate culture.
Right.
But that,
I guess questions, I don't care if you ask why. Just ask them at the right time.
It's a major problem. And that category is called realistic in our assessment. And that is the single category we can use to blow up all behavioral testing, because literally somebody outwardly can be perfect for a job. Say it's a salesperson. They're highly competitive. They're a very good communicator. You're like, oh, this person can do anything. But if you don't know the fact that they're 22, 23% realistic, they'll never make it. You're going to throw them a shirt on day one, say, hey, glad you're here. Go get them. Lunch is at noon. And they're standing there going, but wait, why? And so they'll fail, not because they weren't capable, but because you didn't give them what they needed.
Yeah.
And so
it's making me
really
think of my kids, like a toddler. Well, why?
But then there's people like you that you're like, I don't care why. Let's just go do it.
Exactly. This is what she always says.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Actually, I will figure it out as I go. I mean, I want to stand behind what we're doing. I have to, because it's a conscientious thing with me. It has to sit right with me.
Sure.
But I am very much we will cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, you're that ready, fire, aim person.
Because I look at things and go, I guess maybe the reason I do that is because in my mind is I automatically assume we're going to have issues.
Sure.
I automatically assume there's going to be a problem that's going to occur. But my mindset also says, we're going to get through it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Right?
We'll figure it out.
That's why it's so helpful to know about people like you too, because then we know we're going to need some boundaries. We're going to clean up some messes as we go. You're going to outrun yourself sometimes, but that's okay, because then you're going to make stuff happen.
I'm going to make, I always say that. I will make stuff happen.
Yeah.
She's the queen of making stuff happen.
There's a positive in every way we look at it.
Oh, it is. 100%. I love it. So question for you, when you are going after a project, whatever that is, because obviously you're a professional golfer, so you obviously have done things and you've tackled some different things. You did Subway, we're franchisee for that. You've tackled different things. So when you're going after a project, what does that look like for you? Mindset? I don't know your test scores, so I don't know what task oriented. What is all that? What does all this look like for you?
Oh, if you saw mine, I'm a combination of both of you. I'm very social, enterprising, and artistic. So I am that ready, fire, aim person. But I'm also 24% realistic. So,
that's why
if I don't get it, I'm not going. But as long as I believe in what I'm doing, and for example, I know why I got up every day. I know what we're here to do. So it doesn't slow me down. But when things change, we have a programming glitch, my partner will tell you I wear him out. He's just fixed, curled up in the fetal position, just wanting to know if things are all right. It's just hard for me to do that if I don't get it. But so that's the way I'm wired. But to answer your question, we have a saying that we try and stay in curiosity and come from contribution. And so when we go meet with somebody for the first time, obviously we kind of know who they are. We focus on certain industries kind of more as certain strengths. And so we do research ahead of time, but we just want to go sit down and we want to listen. We really don't say a lot. The one thing we do is we ask them to take the assessment before we show up for two reasons. One, that helps them kind of understand and we can demonstrate what the information is. Two, don't let anybody know, but it tells us exactly how they're wired, so we can talk to them in a way that makes sense, right?
That's really good.
But it really does allow us to connect with them in a way that's going to resonate with them. If it's somebody like you, I'm not going to sit there and tell you all the gory details.
I don't need it.
I'm going to paint a picture about, can you just imagine what we can do with this? Oh my gosh. But if I'm talking to Amy, it's going to be more about, let's talk through some of these questions. Let's answer some things. Let's get through some stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that's the biggest thing up front.
Very cool.
What are the different categories when they're looking, like, we know socialistic and artistic, but what are the different ones? Because obviously we didn't rank in all of them. So.
So there's 6. One is enterprising. And so enterprising people are those natural doers. Often people look at a behavioral side called competitive, or they're drivers or things like that. That's all great, but we can all go get in the locker room with a football team and get more competitive.
Sure.
But that enterprising side is just that natural internal drive to go do stuff. So a high enterprising person is not going to need to be made get out of bed. They're just going to go to work. They're going to push hard. They're going to do things. They are prone to take risks. They are prone to outrun themselves sometimes, but they just do things. Social people, it's not a measurement of their desire to hang out on Instagram all day or live for the weekend. They just genuinely care about people.
Yeah.
And so they'll teach, they'll train more naturally. They genuinely care and want to make sure that folks are doing well. Artistic is that creative, big picture, outside the box thinker. We don't know if you can sing or dance. That's not what we're measuring with artistic. It's more, those are the people that want to be at the whiteboard, collaborating, daydreaming. Oh, just imagine what we can do. But they need somebody that's investigative next to them, because an investigative person actually digs into, okay, I hear your dream. Now let's connect those dots.
Yeah.
Let's see if that actually makes sense. And can we actually get that done? That's often mistaken with what we would call a coordinator behaviorally. We expect people that are good coordinators to create those processes, but a whole lot of people don't. They'll manage a process well. You give them a clipboard and a checklist and an erasable marker, and you can teach them how to check those boxes every day. But somebody needed to create that list. That's what an investigative person does. And then obviously we've talked about realistic, the why person. And then the last is conventional. Conventional people don't like change, square peg, square hole, round peg, round hole. Those tend to be either accountants and CPAs or people that work in really highly repetitive jobs, and in the sense that they just want things to be consistent and the same all day, every day.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is, in just about every environment, we need a little of all of this.
Yeah.
And the key is, if we can put it in the right spot, we're going to be a really highly functioning team.
Do
That's
most
awesome.
people have like a little bit of everything? Or
Yeah, so you tend to have people that tend to be high in three, maybe four categories, but a lot of times, like in your case, you're pretty high in those three categories. In your case, if I remember looking at yours, you're a little more balanced across several of them. So you're what we would call more that utility player. You know, if you're a fan of baseball, it's you play every position. Well, that's what you can do. You can actually collaborate, big picture, and you can kind of drill down into that detail. Now, based on your coordinator score, you don't want to manage that detail once you've figured it out.
Correct.
But once you've figured out the process and kind of mapped out the plan, you're good with that. And so most people are either detail oriented, some people are more big picture, and then you have people like me that really are more big picture, but I got to know why. And so, and then you have those utility players. We call them Switzerland sometimes. They're just kind of peaceful. They get along with everybody. They can kind of bridge the gaps. So
Cool.
You can be a visionary though and be detailed.
sure,
right?
you can.
Yeah,
but
because
it's-
I'm both. I mean, I am detailed. I don't like it.
Yeah, I
don't
mean, it's
enjoy
just going to
it.
stretch you when you
Yeah.
have to get down into the gory detail. You'll
Yeah.
take breaks, you'll check your phone, you'll get up and walk around because that's the painful part. I
Yeah.
would assume when you're writing that probably stretches you sometimes. You have lots of creative flow going, but when
Yeah.
you have to sit and physically do the part.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sitting still.
I'm getting good at doing blogs quicker.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm getting good at I mean,
you
there
wanna
were
get all that
times there
done,
where
yeah.
they would take days because I do pieces of it, you know, and then I'd be like, I got to read this again, put it up, let's come back to it. Like 2 weeks later, I'm still working on the blog. Now I can turn it around a little quicker. I've gotten
Sure,
better,
sure.
a little less critical about it. I just go with
Yeah.
it. So that's great. I
Absolutely.
love all this information.
Yeah, it's
I
a
know.
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And what's
Yeah.
great is it's like the big reveal every day because we have no idea what we're walking into when we go sit down with somebody new.
Yeah, that's
It's fun.
awesome. I have a fun question for you. So who would
Okay.
you say are your biggest influencers?
Oh, gosh.
It's a fun one.
I thought a lot about that, and I got to admit, I'm not a big reader. I don't have a lot of time that I sit around and do stuff like that. I'm just busy chasing stuff all the time.
Jason.
My biggest influencers are probably a couple of guys that were active at Watermark Community Church, and there's a couple of guys there that I work with and have gotten to know, older gentlemen that have been in business for a long time. And I always see them, I lean over to my wife, I'm like, I want to be like that guy when I grow up someday. And they're just solid, rock solid guys that have been successful in life, but they seem really grounded and attached to what they're doing. They know their place, but they know where it all comes from too.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Very cool.
The big reveal. I love that.
The big reveal.
Do you have like a really quick story of like somebody that you just totally transformed their life because of this assessment and what's happened?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's, I mentioned Watermark. We have a program there called Careers in Motion. And so it's actually every Tuesday morning, and we work with people that are in transition. And so I'm part of that team. That's a large team. And we test everybody that comes through there. That's part of what we offer them. And then we coach them and counsel them. We've seen some amazing turnarounds there because people come in not in a good frame of mind, right? They didn't expect the transition. Some people are kicking tires and want to see what else is out there.
Sure.
But for the most part, they're dreading even being there. And so it's really fun when you get to sit down with somebody, talk to them about the way they're wired. And I remember one lady in particular that when we finished, she said, "Thank you for giving me the freedom to be who I am instead of who everybody tells me to be."
Wow.
And so I remember that all the time because she wasn't wired as somebody that naturally would stick herself out there and be really loud and known, but people were always trying to push her that direction. And we just showed her, said, "This is who you are. There's no mistake about it. Embrace it and run with it instead of trying to be something you're not."
So great.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you used to do golf.
I did.
That's a fun question. I got another one fun for you. So what do you like to do for fun now?
Well, I'd love to play golf, but I sure don't get to do that
Don't
much
get to do
anymore.
that?
Right? Kids growing up and college and all of that. No,
Yeah.
you know, my family is everything. We're really tight knit. There's obviously the four of us. We love to travel, always have. And so we've always said that's our favorite time because you kind of get away from the world and the madness and the craziness, and we just get to get lost in each other.
Yeah.
And so that's always been fun. But my wife's my best friend. That's who I hang out with when I'm not working. And we're terrible Netflix people because if somebody tells us about a series, we like watch it all in one night,
You
right?
binge
Just
it.
like, well, that was pretty good. Shall we watch another? So we're terrible about that.
That's so funny.
But we're big outdoors people. We love to be in the pool, hanging out. Love to be outside. I know that's not good for us, but we love it.
Love to be outside?
And so
I think
we
outside.
love the sun and all those things that are bad for us. But,
Actually, I think it's kind of
but,
good for you
yeah,
to get a little bit.
we love that. So
Yeah.
it's really just as much family time as I can have. And I just, like I said, I can't believe my kids are as old as they are. So we're starting to think about next phases in life, empty nesting in a year and a half. And
So you've got one,
And,
the youngest is how old again?
she's a junior in high school.
Okay,
So,
so you're
Oh my
you're
gosh.
kind of like I
Year and a half
am.
away.
Yeah, you're kind
Yeah.
of like my youngest is a sophomore,
Yeah.
so I'm almost at that empty nest.
yeah. So
Which
it's
is so weird.
crazy. So I'm thinking maybe I might get to start playing a little golf again once they're off at college. And that would be fun.
Yeah.
And my wife's not a golfer, but she loves to go and hang out. So maybe that'll be one of the things we put in our schedule.
That'd be
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
I was talking about that because it's kind of like I just remember with my three that, you know, my Saturdays were consumed. My middle played select soccer for a long time, and so our weekends were consumed both
Sure.
Saturday and Sunday. And then the little one was doing sports as well, and so all of them were in activities. I just remember every Saturday and Sunday being tied up. And
Right.
now the big one's in Denton. She's doing her thing. She's a preschool teacher. Middle one's off to college. I got one home, and I'm like, man, like. I get up, but here's the funny part about this. I think I'm going to sleep in, and I don't. I'm still up,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't have anywhere I got to be this morning. This is great. Like, I don't have no games, nothing I've got to be at, you know,
Right.
other than I guess if he has a track meet, we try to get to those.
Sure.
But it's so weird.
Yeah. It's
So I'm right there with you on
it's
that.
crazy. Yeah. Well, our
time
younger one
flies.
is very, very social, very mobile. She's
That's how
always
my
doing
youngest is.
stuff and
Mhm.
always on the road. And so there's a lot of nights that I look at my wife and I'm like, this is what we have to look forward to. I hope you still like me.
Yeah.
so far, most days that works out well. But
I do have
it's crazy.
I do have a really good question to ask you before we wrap up here. So, doing the test on your wife, does she doing what she's wanting to, what she was designed to do?
Yeah,
wanted to
you know,
know, too.
it's interesting. She is just wired very differently than I am, and where it really helped us was that, you know, I work from home, so if I'm on the road, I'm in a client's office or I'm out of town. I mean, it's just the way we work. Our office is based in Austin, so I just office out of the house. So it's not uncommon. She would come in and she works from home as well, and so she'd come in and say, "Hey, would you look at this email for me?" And I'm like, I write emails all day, every day.
Right.
Just write the email. That was my thought. I
Right,
didn't say that, right?
Right.
So then she took the test and I was like, oh, there's not an investigative bone in her body.
Yeah.
And so it helped me understand, all right, it's easiest if I just help her because that's
Yeah.
what she needs. And it also explained why anything we've ever bought that required assembly, the instructions were in my hand instantly when the box was open because she doesn't want to read the instructions.
Yeah.
And
So
so
funny.
it really helped me in that regard. But yeah, what she is somebody she's all about people and the compassion and the empathy of that. And that's exactly who she is.
I don't like directions either.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
I
Takes time to read them.
the
right?
funny part about this, we were trying to I was telling Jason over there about this, but we were trying to put the video for the show that went out on Tuesday, and I get the program up and I look at it and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is just too much work. Like I'm like digging, like moving. So I'm like, Sean, this is my son. I'm like, Sean, figure this out. Like figure this out. And all I need you to do is show me what buttons to click. Like you go, you test it all out and you tell me what to click. Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't have time to keep going through this.
That lack of investigative side that you have in your body.
Yeah, it just bores me.
Call your partner here. She's
yeah, severely. Oh, I know. I know. Well, this has been super awesome. So Jeff, how do our listeners find you if they want to locate you?
Yeah, so iWorkZone.com. It's the letter I, WorkZone, kind of weird, but iWorkZone.com, iWorkZone.net. We have iWorkZone.org, which is the side that we work with schools and educational places, helping students understand how they're wired. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, and so happy to connect. Love to talk to people, love to meet new people. That's what we love to do every day.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you. Do you have anything would you like to add?
No. Other than we definitely want to talk about our event coming up.
Yes, we do. So we have a big event coming up April 4th. Super excited about it. Dreams are magical. And you can find all the information on this on our Facebook page at Starter Girls. And of course, it's on Eventbrite as well. So check it out. We'd love to have you there. We're going to have a fabulous guest and speaker. We got the Brianna Raylis coming, former top 100 finalist for American Idol season 4. Same season with Carrie Underwood.
Oh, wow.
Super excited about it. So yes, that's April 4th. And I guess with that, we need to wrap up and say our mantra. So thank you, Jeff, for being our guest.
Thanks so much, ladies. It's been great.
Super fun. And when we put your show out there, we'll be sure to put all your contact info in there so they can
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, before we do our mantra, we want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy our podcast, please give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook because we can't do this without you. All right. With that, let's wrap it up. It's a great day to be brave. You're not getting any younger. You might as well start today. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.